This video is brought to you by John Robson Guitar Tuition. If you enjoy the content, please consider supporting the channel by enrolling on a course, purchasing some guitar lessons or a t-shirt, or you can join my Patreon. Now, on with the show. Hello chaps, welcome once again to John Robson Guitar Tuition. As always, I do hope you're well. As you can probably gather, it's all about a certain Mr. Carlos Santana today. That was me having a stab at one of his, I think, most iconic solos, the main solo from his version of Peter Green's Black Magic Woman. My Patreon supporters will be well aware of the fact that I'm on a bit of a Santana kick at the moment because last month's exclusive Patreon lesson was focusing on another Santana solo, basically something a little bit more recent from the 90s. Was it the 90s or the early 2000s? But you know, that sort of period when he had a bit of a resurgence in his career. But I thought for today we'd go back to some of his more earlier output, and what we're going to do is have a little bit of a look at what's going on in that particular solo and also discuss what you can do to get as close as possible to the iconic Santana guitar sound. Here we go.
Solo explanation.
Okay, usually at this point in the video I start talking about, well, let's have a look at the chords that we're playing over, and we're going to do that, but before we get there, I'm bound to get asked, so I'll get this out of the way. The tone I was using there, it wasn't really me trying to go for the actual Santana tone that he used on that recording. I was just going for more of a generic kind of, the sort of thing I do when I want a Santana-ish tone. And it starts off with the new X-Horseman pedal, with those settings. Everything's set to just kind of roughly 12 o'clock. And the output of that is going into this Behringer EQ pedal with those settings there. Nice big spike in the mid-range, which gives it that sort of half-cocked wah sound, and as usual they were going into the Blue Guitar Amp 1 Mercury edition on the vintage channel. So let's have a look at what those different elements of the signal chain all contribute. So we'll start with just the sound of the amp. That's going to sound like this. Then if I put the Horseman pedal in front of it, you'll hear the gain boost that gives. And it's that little humble little EQ pedal that about 20 quid on Amazon that gives us the that sort of singing kind of tone. So if I just kick that on, that's going to do this. And I forgot to mention, go to the neck pickup. Let's turn the pedal off. I'll turn the pedal off. Sounds like this. And turn it on. It sounds like this. and you get that kind of lovely singing sustain. So that's that out of the way. Let's now talk about what chords the solo is played over. So that's one. that's a clean enough sound to do the chords. Basically, we're in D minor for this solo. All of the chords come directly from the D Aeolian mode or D natural minor, and that's the scale we're going to be using over the top of it. But the chords are 2 bars of D minor to 2 bars of A minor, back to 2 bars of D minor, then into G minor for 2 bars, D minor and A minor for a bar each, then D minor again for a bar, and then you kind of pause. You hit that D minor on beat 1 of the 12th bar, and then just pause for the for the rest of that bar, which that has a significance in what the lead guitar is doing. So as I say, the lead guitar part is based on the D natural minor scale, which has the notes of D, E, F, G, A, B flat, C, and back to D again. Okay, contained within that you've got the notes of the D minor pentatonic, D, F, G, A, C, and some parts of the solo are more kind of skewed towards the pentatonic. It's basically you add the E note and the B flat to the pentatonic, you get the D natural minor scale, and some parts of the solo he's concentrating mainly on the pentatonic, and other parts he's adding the extra notes in the E and the B flat. So we start the solo with this bend here. Now, knowing where to come in is kind of an important thing here. I did a video years ago, it's got to be getting on for 5 years, about, it was when I used to do those what I learned from series of videos, and one of them was Santana, and I talked about the long pickup in that video. The pickup phrase is the kind of few notes before the beginning of the first bar of the solo, and Santana does like to kind of put a longer pickup phrase in, and what he does here is you start on beat 2, so it's you count 1 to, on the actual jam track that I've done for this lesson for the Patreon supporters, there's like a 2-bar counting, so on beat 2 of the second bar, that's when you come in. So 1, 2, 3, 4, 1, 2, 3, like that. So yeah, that, and let me just take a quick look at the tab, because I've forgotten basically, so bear with me a second. I'm just loading the tab now. There we go. Right, so it's going like that. So just that's one of the parts I was talking about there, where it is just purely pentatonic, and then we come down with this little lick like that, and settle on this this E note here. The E note is part of the A minor chord, which has just arrived by that point. So we get then we climb back up the scale like this. We go like that, just kind of coming back up an A minor, a D minor chord there, that little arpeggio. And then settle on this E note here, which we then slide up to the F, and then come back down to just that little pattern of 3 notes there. So, and then hang on to that D note bend there. Next up, we play like a series of bends that take us up the neck like this. Let's get a little bit of drive going on here. So 13th fret on the top E string, 15th, then that little fairly sort of commonplace little thing, bend, that kind of thing, and then up to the 18th fret, bending the B flat. So we're definitely thinking in terms of the natural minor scale here, because the pentatonic doesn't have the B flat note in it, and we bend that up to a C, which at that particular moment we are playing over the G minor chord. So it's not a note that's in the chord, but it's, you know, it's, I guess you call it the 11th or the 4th of the G minor chord, but it's just a note that's in key and fits. Various places in this solo, Carlos is targeting chord tones, like when we slide down to that E note there for the A minor chord, but here he's not thinking like that. He's just wanting to kind of ascend up to some sort of climactic moment, and we are approaching the end of the first half of the solo here. So after that B flat to C bend there, we get this little part thing here, essentially just basically playing the F, E and D notes from the scale, and then again pure pentatonic there. So from this note here, like that, and that takes you to the end of the first part of the solo. Moving on to the second part, again, remember when we had that pause at the when we came back to the D minor, where we go kind of like a bar of D minor to A minor, back to D minor, and there's that stop there. Well, once again, Carlos plays through that gap there, through that pause. It really makes the lead guitar part stand out and be noticeable. So what we do is we go, so C up to D, D up to E, then C up to D again. And I find it kind of easiest to do that with my little finger, because it means I've got less distance to travel to get back to this note here, this almost like a kind of knopflery kind of thing there. You know, play that on a Strat with a clean sound and you've got a Mark Knopfler lick. So after that, again, pentatonic stuff again here, where we go until we get to this E note here, which is once again exactly the same ploy that we used last time, where we're using the E note against the A minor chord, and he sustains that note for the entirety of the next bar, and then back into a pentatonic lick here, culminating on that C to D bend, because by that point we are, I believe, back on the D minor chord. Yes, and oh no, we're still on the A minor chord. There, I beg your pardon. It's the next bar where the D minor chord comes in with again a pentatonic lick. So you can see all of that just coming straight out of that pentatonic pattern one there. So and then we're heading off towards the G minor chord, and what he does there is he just plays a straight up G minor arpeggio with an added E note in there. So you could make the case that it's G minor 6, I suppose, but that there, that G, B flat, D is just a straight up G minor arpeggio. And we're bending up to the G note there. Again, another one of these little forays up to the dusty end of the neck, just to kind of build some kind of bending tension. And then, so we're bending 13, F up to G, 15, G up to A, 18, B flat up to C, and then basically the C note at the 20th is being bent up to a D. Again, doing that sort of Knopfler quick release bend and back up, and then echo that down here. Oops, wrong fret, I did beg your pardon. Should be looking where I'm going. So, you know, after the... And then we're into the climactic lick of the solo. No coincidence that this next lick is the one where it's the busiest, the fastest lick. It starts like this. Like that. So just pure pentatonic coming down the pentatonic scale in 16th notes. 1 E and a 2 E and a 3 E and a, like that. So, and then just a pair of 8th notes, D and C at the end there, and then we ascend via like a kind of a blues scale thing, which also includes that E note there, to bring us back to the F note, which is where the vocals come back in. And once again, this little lick here is in that same kind of gap at the end of the D minor section, where the band takes a rest for a bar and he plays through it, and the vocals come back in as soon as we hit that F note there at the end of the solo. So a very, very good example of a lot of the traits that Carlos uses in his playing. Chord note targeting. He chooses when to do it and when not to do it. Sometimes just the pentatonic thing is enough, and other times, he wants to land on a note and stay there. That's kind of a strong note against the chord. So, and of course, playing through the gaps and everything like that, and you know how to get the tone now. So that's pretty much all you need to know. So now go away and have some fun with it. And I mentioned Patreon earlier on. As usual, there is a full tab for that solo in both Guitar Pro and PDF formats, along with a clip of me playing it, that explanation you've just seen there, and a backing track to play along with. All of that is up on my Patreon page. There's the address, link in the description. $3 or £2.50 a month gets you access to all of these additional goodies and resources that go along with these YouTube videos. A massive, massive thank you to everyone who supports me in that or any of the other ways, all of which are, where, linked down below. So yeah, the secret of the tone really is to just, the choice of amp is slightly less important. Just any amp that can produce that sort of high gain, overdriven lead tone, will kind of basically fit the bill. Go to a neck humbucker, and the main thing is splash out 20 quid or thereabouts on Amazon for one of those little Behringer EQ pedals. I don't think that's what Carlos will be using. I think he probably has something a little bit more high end. You can also get the same effect by having a Crybaby wah pedal sort of cocked halfway, but I like to do it with the EQ pedal, but either way is good, and it just really gives it that sort of singing vocal quality that might sound a little bit nasal in isolation, but just sits in a mix beautifully well. The other things, of course, that we discussed there are that long pickup phrase, rather than just starting on beat 1 of the bar of the first bar of your solo. Play a phrase that leads up to it, maybe an entire bar's worth of a phrase that leads into that first note of your solo, the first note on the first bar of your solo. It's that kind of gradual build-up that often characterises Carlos's playing, as well as the targeted chord notes, like keeping on landing on that E note over the A minor chord, and saving the most frantic, the most busy, dare I say it, the most shreddy, not that Carlos is a shredder, but saving the kind of twiddliest part of your solo right for the big climactic moment. All of these things will get you close to a kind of Santana-ish kind of vibe in your playing. And that's pretty much the video for today, folks. Hope you've enjoyed it and found it useful and informative, and if you have, please hit the subscribe button and the notification bell if you haven't already done so, and why not drop me a like while you're at it. Don't forget the live stream every Friday 5 PM UK time, where we drink beer and talk about music and guitars and a whole host of other things. Great way to kick off the weekend, and I'd love to see you there if you can make it. But for now, I'll bid you all a good day and say thank you so much for watching. Thank you for your time. Look after yourselves, folks. Stay well, stay safe, and above all, stay sane. Bye for now.